End of October. This is Just-in-House with TrueHouse episode 430. And a very good evening to Instagram as well. As you all know, that's my favourite part, sitting still with my pensive bird face. It's not actually a pout. You're not going to catch me pouting. We all know what an official pout is. It's one of these, isn't it? When people suck in their cheeks. But the bottom line is, I've got a scar there, and B, I try to disguise that tooth, hence my closed mouth birdie. Like like when you see a little bird that does this with their mouth shut, that's my smile. So it's concerning me because I look at it and think, oh, Justin, it looks like you're trying to actually do the ridiculous face which so many people do, and it annoys the out of me because it's almost, I don't know where that came from. The duck. Good evening, welcome. Because even men do it. I mean, I remember when I was modelling. I know it's hard to believe now looking at me, but when I was modelling for 7 years in London, from 1994 till sort of 2001, 2002. Even then, I guess us male models would do the classic, sucked in cheek thing, the bitter lemon, as the acting and theatrical community would call it. And you look at any actor's headshots, invariably it's like, where's my good side? And they do the obligatory, cheek sucking. And I personally, I can't stand it. But anyway, that's my, I try to not show the tooth. Anyway, look, it's episode 430 tonight. I'm going to do my best. I'm not feeling well. There's no point in lying about this. I have taken 2 COVID tests today, the RATs, I call them. It's just rapid antigen test. No, not antigen. Yeah, is it? Anyway, I've got a pile of them. Is it rapid? Yeah, RAT test, the rapid antigen test. So I took 2 tests. Both are showing negative. There's no reason why I would have COVID. I secretly hope and pray that I've got I've acquired the antibodies over the last 592 days I've been doing this. I've had 4 or 5 episodes of really bad health where I've been down and out for sort of 4-6 days, really, really, like hard to move, kind of not too far off sepsis. When I had sepsis and pneumonia 3 times a piece, that kind of feeling of just utter, just even the mildest blow on the skin causes huge pain. Anyway, but I've had a couple of hot showers, and I do a protocol of triple P, which is paracetamol to control the temperature, penicillin, so amoxicillin, flucloxacillin, or penicillin V, with, of course, prednisolone, corticosteroid. So far, touch wood, that's what sort of, battered it away as an immunologically suppressed person. Right, so, okay, I'm going to steam into it because I feel I can do all right tonight if I just go for it, give it my best. Very disappointed with myself last night. The night before was okay. No one's harder on me than me. When I do a live stream and I just feel, I'm not, whether it's the sort of sequentially speaking or just segueing from one thing to t'other. And I know how much I ponder or fail to get to the apex, get to the crux of the, get to the point. I think, Justin, what would you feel if you were in the audience now? You'd be like, come on, mate, get to the point. So it's the round the houses, that literally is my wheelhouse, excuse the pun, of taking forever and a day to get to the bloody point. Whether it's, anecdotal stuff or just talking about, society, writ large, as they say. So look, episode 430 tonight. What I want to talk about, there was an Eddie Murphy film with Dan Aykroyd called Trading Places. I'm sure it starred those. Hang on a minute. Hey Google, Trading Places, Dan Aykroyd film.
According to Wikipedia, Trading Places is a 1983 American comedy film directed by John Landis and written by Timothy Harris and Herschel Weingrod. It stars Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy, Ralph Bellamy, Don Amici, Denholm Elliott, and Jamie Lee Curtis.
God, Denholm Elliott, he's died, hasn't he? Can you remember Denholm Elliott in The Last Crusade with Indiana Jones? Of course, he died of HIV/AIDS. But the reason I mention that is because I'm a fan of John Landis, the Kentucky Fried Movie, and of course the most iconic John Landis film, American Wolf in London. John Landis was friends with Jim Henson, the Muppets. Useless Just-inHouse there, bit of a film buff. But Trading Places, as the name suggests, and you can comment because I've hit. Please do comment. Feel free, because I on the YouTube. Not algorithm, but where I go live, it gives me a choice to go, yes, it's for kids, no, it's not for kids. And the minute I press, yes, it's for kids under 18, it doesn't permit comments. But tonight I've gone, it isn't for kids, it's for over 18s. So it doesn't mean I'm going to get sweary, because the algorithm actually notices if you do say the F word or the C word. So I won't throw out too many fucks or cunts. But there you go. God, yeah. Anyway, so Trading Places, John Landis film. If you haven't seen American Wealth in London, you must. It's all the Johns. You've got John Hughes, of course, Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, 16 Candles, etc. And of course, John Landis in the 80s, there, 83 to 90, around there, really good era. Certainly what I was born and raised on. Trading Places, Dan Aykroyd, and of course, Eddie Murphy, peak Eddie Murphy. Raw, delirious. You all remember being at school, again, that 83 to 86 period where Eddie Murphy came out with that amazing red leather and white leather, all in one, and just did his Mr. T. And it, of course, made lots of what would now be called homophobic jokes, did the Mr. T thing, did the, again, it would be called homophobic and bigoted and, a misanthrope and misogyny and every other ist you care to throw at Eddie. I think Eddie Murphy still is kind of like a modern Richard Pryor, isn't he? Still a very good comic, and I wish he'd come back. So Trading Places, as the name suggests, the reason I'm going to mention it tonight, I've titled tonight Trading Places and Black Mirror. See, I actually feel okay at the moment. I know I'm not well because I'm got the cold sweats, but I'm going to be all right for a good 30, 40 minutes. I can feel I'm going to be all right. We are like, a friend of mine, Steve, the other day, and it's a word that I encounter in my head a lot, living vicariously through someone. You can say, oh, it's a little bit, sort of voyeurism, isn't it? But we do live vicariously through. The case in point, the other day, the newspapers or the media was just littered with Conor McGregor photographs because he's walking around with his partner Dee in Rome. And of course, I've been to Rome, only once in my life, but it was an experience that I would love to repeat. If you don't like Rome, I think there's something wrong with you. There's certain places, again, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a globetrotter and I'm worldly wise and experienced, because I haven't done all of America at all. I haven't even done New York, for goodness sake. I've just done Los Angeles and Florida and France and Italy and Spain. But that's literally it for me. My point is, I fell in love with specifically the Amalfi Coast, the rough but city of Naples, Vesuvius, Sorrento, the Isle of Capri. So I took in the Amalfi coastline, and we went to see Pompeii, which of course Mount Vesuvius erupted and showered Pompeii, and Rome, St. Peter's Basilica, and of course you got Conor McGregor and his partner Dee walking around Rome with huge crowds, and he's wearing tight clothes, and he looks good and all that, and it's just literally on your daily Google swipe, and this is why I mentioned trading places and vicarious living, because what we're doing, and this is an unprecedented time, and this is why I'm going to sort of say, as Sam Harris would say, it's analogous to, excuse me, an episode of Black Mirror. I'm a big fan of oh God, Justin, I'm blanking on the writer, Charlie Brooker. That would have been embarrassing if I'd forgotten Charlie's name. Do you know what? I've not done this bloody thing on, have I? Sorry. You won't hear a difference your end, but I will. I can't believe it. I've been speaking without this. Okay, we're good. Sorry about that. Sorry, quick. A, B, 1, 2, A, B, 1, 2, ABC, 1, 2, 3. Friday, 22nd of October. Good, right. Okay, sorry about that. So, look, when you see this, it could be Instagram, it could be, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, whatever. What are the kids doing now? And I want to mention this because I was, doing lots of texting recently with a dear friend of mine, Steve, and we're back and forth like a tennis match. It's really good, but it's also really silly because we all each of us needs to do is to hold down the speaker button and just do a dictated one. Leave a voicemail. It's far faster than the thumb work we're doing. We would do. I'm guiltier than Steve is. I'm doing these lengthy WhatsApp text messages, and of course we're both of us are getting Pixel 6 Pros next Thursday, which I'm hugely excited about, especially because I'm getting it with a mate of mine, and I know he's a Pixel fan, so it means a lot to me. I never take these phone launches for granted, no matter how many I do. 3, 4 a year. I just pinch myself because of the glory of what it is. Anyway, so when we do get our pixels, the annotation, the live transcribe will be even faster, and a pixel to a pixel it'll make short work of what we're currently doing. So the vicarious living, analogous to Black Mirror. What do I mean by this? It's validation, and it is a little bit voyeuristic because I did it myself. I did it, and again, because I am compelled to tell the truth, I will not lie on this channel. I looked at those pictures of Conor McGregor and immediately thought, oh, Rome, because I've been to Rome, obviously, with, back in 2016. So you too can walk the same streets. You too can. This is the crazy thing about Gen Pop. Look, people, these lofty people, and I'm using Conor McGregor because he's a divisive character. He's a Marmite character. Good evening. He's a hello, sir. Nice to see you. He's a Marmite character. I'm mentioning Conor because he's just currently, in the not vernacular, but anyway, he's a name at the moment, right? So it reminded me of OK Magazine and Hello Magazine back in the day, and I just thought, we do this, and I found myself having that little moment in my noggin of going, oh yeah, St. Peter's Square, those lovely, I'm trying to think of the designer of the columns, but oh gosh, Benin. Anyway, but the Corinthian columns, the beautiful columns in the St. Peter's Square, and of course St. Peter's Basilica. And the reason I'm sort of going to bang on a little bit about Rome and about living vicariously through someone, whether it's a Conor McGregor or just the digital pages of media, and we all do this. You can see someone with a lovely sports car, or I transported myself back to 2016 with very visceral memories of, I know what it smells like. I can do that too. It would be a matter of time and me, frankly, putting aside the money, saving up. And what's the difference then? What's the difference? And this is my sort of what am I trying to say? Not posit. Well, yeah, I suppose I could say posit. Anyway, I put it to you: what's the difference between the obvious answer is his bank balance, But when you see a household name, a person that's is a young man, and again, this is not about how much you like or dislike Conor McGregor. This has got nothing to do with Conor McGregor as a person. Um, I yeah, in fact, I'm not even going to discuss Conor McGregor as a person. You know, morally, I don't even want to do that. I'm using Conor McGregor because it's a name that is known. And you look at all the people adorning the streets. You look at his security detail. And you look at, he's got a big smile on his face. This could be Joe Rogan too, right? Joe Rogan, I think, is a bigger name. And you think, wow. And you do sort of find yourself invariably going, oh, yeah. The difference is, as Rogan himself has said, and this is verbatim, he could relax. This is Joe's actual words. He said he could relax when his career trajectory, his life had peaked and hit a certain point where he possessed fuck you money. And again, I endeavour not to swear on this live stream, but there's a time and a place. Even Mr. OG motivational speaker, Tony Robbins. If you drop in a fuck now and again, if your audience is listening, you can punctuate with a good swear. So when Rogan said about having FU money, I thought, yeah, this. It's like the monologue from Michael Gambon at the end of Layer Cake when he talks to ex Daniel Craig. He had no name, of course. You're born, and it's like, welcome to the Layer Cake, son. You're in the rarefied atmosphere. You eat shit or take shit. You eat shit, take shit. And this rarefied atmosphere of a Rogan, of a McGregor, of anyone with an unfeasible bank balance, it's you get to this rarefied atmosphere where whether it is, oh, I quite fancy those shoes, or I quite fancy that phone, or I quite fancy that Ferrari, you can. Now, the troubling thing is, this is why I mentioned Trading Places, and this is why I'm going to use the one quote on this live stream because I'm not into quote mining. I don't like it. I don't like plagiarism. There's a lot of people on social media who literally copy and paste through the quote mining, and they'll get amazing quotes, Nietzsche or someone, and or George Orwell, or, and it's like Edmund Burke, really, really timeless quotes, and just I'm like, God, don't do that. The only quote I go back to is "Comparison is the thief of joy." Now, it's a Theodore Roosevelt quote. It's a Teddy quote. So it's a quick quote. It's a short quote. It's a very the fat is off that quote. But really think about these words. I'm going to repeat them again, not to insult your intelligence. Not any of you watching. Like please don't think I'm infantilizing it and speaking like that. But comparison is the thief of joy. Now, when you really think about that, really, comparison is the thief. It's 6 words. That is right. Comparison is the thief. Yeah, it's so accurate. It's so telling, because if I compare myself to a Rogan, to a McGregor, to whoever, and think, right, Justin, you don't have those funds. You don't have that degree of wealth. And we vicariously trade places. We go onto, whatever, YouTube, Insta, TikTok, whatever, and you look at these people, operating in this rarefied atmosphere, and it does feel like Charlie Brooker's writing in Black Mirror. It does, because we are. I mean, we're past crash test dummies. We really are. I mean, number one, we know better. Number one, I propose that we know better. It's like the old saying, isn't it? Again, I'm gonna have to paraphrase this one, but about those again. It's literally me loosely paraphrasing. Um, those of us that don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it, or something like that. Words to that effect. If you don't literally alter yourself and through osmosis learn about history, the pictures of Germans with wheelbarrows with loaves of bread in them, because that's where this is. You see, you've got to remember, guys. Again, I'm not giving financial advice, and I'm not a financial expert. I mean, God, I wish I was. But when Bitcoin, and by the way, I do like the prospect of Bitcoin. I find it exciting because personally, I'm all for decentralizing, and I'm all for the complete cessation of money machine go burr, right? As my American friends say, the more you print money, the lesser it's worth, the lesser its value. And when a Bitcoin in '09 was whatever 100 quid, is now between 62 and 65,000 euros or pounds, you realise the extreme value of a Bitcoin. Now this is great for crypto, but of course it's, and I actually also say great because it's going to devalue the dollar. And this is why I mention that you've only got to go onto YouTube, whatever, and look at documentaries about the Germans, and of course you realise First or Second World War, take your pick, the Kaiser, whether we go Russia. And again, it's funny, the narrative, isn't it? Because I don't want to go off half-cock about history, but we're looking at Mussolini, or you look at Stalin and Lenin. It's like Hitler's the one that's mentioned, Hitler, right? But in terms of engineered starvation, the engineered ending of food, and those awful stories that Jordan B. Peterson speaks about. When Jordan Peterson does speak about, and Lex Fridman does too, it's people you must look at and you must listen. Well, you don't have to, but I strongly suggest it. And they talk about how, again, I'm not speaking in metaphors. I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm being factually correct, and I won't go into explicit detail. But the Russians and Czechs did eat their young. Okay, really, really get that in your head. They did eat their dogs and cats and rats, and they did eat each other. This is not me, laying it on thick and warping history. This is actual historical fact. Now, anyone that's watched or listened to me on this live stream will know that I'm not a fan of the current trend, the erasure of history. This terrible confirmation bias, cognitive dissonance, this group amnesia. I genuinely feel that soon in so-called schools, extremely recent history, and remember, World War II is extremely recent history. Anything that happened in the last 10 decades, again, I've many times in this live stream mentioned my granny, who lives literally a mile away. She's 107 this Christmas, I kid you not. She's 107 in December. Yeah, it's 107, yeah. So I'm just working out the year. So she does remember, Stalin and Churchill and Roosevelt and Florence Nightingale, Alexander Fleming, penicillin. She remembers all this. She has an actual ability as a 107-year-old to go, oh yeah, Queen Victoria, yeah, I remember this, I remember that. She was alive and does remember waking up, and holding the newspapers and being aware of this and being in and of that time. The reason I mention my granny, although I'm not particularly close with her, is that it's a human that I use it to demonstrably prove my point. My point is this, that if we're discussing, the chronology of history, and I know a human down the road who's 107 in December, it brings it home, doesn't it? Well, it does for me anyway. It brings it home in terms of, accommodating it in your noggin. Can you contain it? Because what's happening, and this is dangerous. This is why I talk about treading places. I talk about this vicarious living and comparisons to the thief of joy, because we are living at an extremely shallow's not a strong enough word, very superficial, dare I say subcutaneous. We are living at a very surface level. Michael Malice, again, he's an author and a political commentator. I'm a huge fan. Please look at Michael Malice online. I've got both his books as well. Lovely chap. He's an incredible troll. I mean, really, but in a very clever way. The master of sarcasm. And he mentioned the likes of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, and Pelosi or Biden or Chuck Schumer or Ralph Nadler and all these people. He said they're hardly intellectually impressive, are they? He said that they're not impressive people. They're not, and he's bloody right. That the people in charge, the people, have any of you looked at the shaking and the stuttering and the breathlessness of these people? And that goes all the way down to a young person like Jen Psaki. I've mentioned it many times on this live stream. When you become breathless and exasperated, and you're short of breath because you're constantly pathologically lying, and or you're incompetent, just your speaking reeks of inadequacy. You're on a political stage or a global stage, like circle back Jen Psaki, White House press sec, or a Nancy Pelosi, and they're breathless, their cadence, are you with me? Like the way I speak, it's my cadence, my tempo. Yes, I'm very sort of yap, but it's like that because they're lying. And I in my own life, I remember being caught lying at school and being out of breath, that awful washing machine stomach, and no sir, it was Timmy, what I mean, you get like that, you get a bit, because you're lying. And I don't want to go too far off the beaten track, but it's something's happening where, if we're looking at people of the now, like I say, like a Rogan, and I'm going to take Rogan off the list, because I think Joe Rogan, and again, whether you're a fan or not of Joe Rogan is neither here or there. In my subjective opinion, I think Joe Rogan is now at a point where he's a social contributor. He's actually, a good friend of mine in Croydon, where I used to live, actually turned me on to the JRE, the Joe Rogan Experience, back in 2011, the beginning of, as I went into my second year of dialysis, and it got me through dialysis. But the point is, I've done a decade now as a listener, a supporter of Joe Rogan Experience. He began in 09, so he's good shoes. And the point I'm making is that Joe Rogan is actually giving, in terms of an eclectic, a wide, range of topics and people, very diverse, and conversation. And I actually could present quite easily an argument for literally Rogan and his top dozen guests in terms of public contributions, contributions to the town square, to dialogue, to discussions, to this tennis match, this back and forth rally of actually not a shouting match, not outrage, not how dare you, but actual, adult conversation. It's fair to say that Rogan himself has become quite masterful at listening, and his range of guests is glorious. I mean, it really is a good It used to be, mixed martial artist comedian, mixed martial artist comedian, and I get that. It'd be, same as me really. If I looked at my mental Rolodex, my address book of who I know, they're kind of going to be from my old game a little bit, and it's the point is, it's a bit like the old world, just to suck the marrow out of life, isn't it? Dead poets and I just I'm I'm excited. I'm excited because I do think and when I say we, I mean us lot, us talkers, us, frankly, normal people, well adjusted. Because you see, if I sat here and said at any time, I'm breastfeeding or I'm menstruating, yeah, you would know that I've now stepped off. And you've got to understand again, you don't need to be Plato, Hippocrates. You don't need to be a Greek philosopher to understand what's going on. The minute you start to get, I'm going to be really careful with my words and not even say biologically born. I'm going to say natally born. There you go. It's even tighter. Natally born males, adult males known as men, and adult females are known as women. Funny that, right? If I'm saying I can menstruate and I've got a uterus and a cervix and a womb, that's biologically, physiologically wrong. It's incorrect. It's incorrect. It would take you guys 30 seconds, literally 30 seconds, to go onto YouTube and find a man presenting as a man, yet telling you with total sincerity, with honed, utter eviction, utter conviction. Sorry, evicting himself. With total sincerity and utter conviction that he was a woman and going to give birth. I mean, even Tom Daly did it. I mean, Pete Buttigieg recently did it, had to have maternity leave. It's not true. It's not true. You're not carrying to term full pregnancy, are you? You got dick and balls, man. You got dick and balls. You produce testosterone, not estrogen. You haven't got a womb and a uterus and a cervix, have you? Yeah, you got cock and balls and prostate. So shut up. It's again. This is where we're going off the edge. Now, the reason I feel confident about this is because we will win. Because I think the extreme, the overwhelming majority of humans will agree with what I've just said. I literally think if I wish I did have a bigger audience. If you literally got my words and transposed them and just said, right, adult male form, a person presenting, 35-year-old male, says that he's menstruating and is breastfeeding. This is not true. It's not true. It's not real. It's fiction. It's a work of fantasy. So to go back to my, trading places, it doesn't do us any favours as Gen Pop centrists, because we are centred people, and I don't mean because all of us are politically homeless. There's an expression doing the rounds. You're politically homeless because nowadays, because the two tribes, Frankie, because the two tribes are very much, this awful partisan, purely performative politics, and it's completely performative. The mask and all this sort of stuff, and mask on, mask off. It's complete performance art. It really, really is. I just think we will win. Logic will win. Logic will win, and it's The distraction is in trading places. The distraction is look over here. The distraction is, it really is. We did it with Brexit, we'll do it with something else. It's literally chaff and redirect. It's diversion. So long as you understand what I'm saying, and that's all I want anyone to do, is to hopefully, again, I'm not one of those people that needs to be right. Does that make sense? I don't do this in order to be right. The fragility of my ego isn't such that I need to be right. I will endeavour to be factually correct, and I'm extremely aware that there will be plenty of times where I'm literally factually just plain wrong. I would invite anyone to go, just, it's not true, mate, you got that wrong. And I'm not the sort of person to go, how dare you. No, I'm the sort of person to go, oh, really? Shit, thank you, cheers. So, because I want to learn, and I'm flawed. I'm flawed. People talk about whataboutism. People talk about, right. There's such an emphasis now in being right. Case in point, personally, again, I see it as a victory for us. And I'm putting my foot in my mouth here a little bit, aren't I? Because the minute I say us, us, I'm immediately making a rod for my own back, aren't I? I'm immediately setting a bit of a funny precedent there by saying, well, that's our side, isn't it? That's our side. What I mean us, as in, we don't think men can be women. Of course, you might feel like a woman. I might feel like Justine. Hell, I might identify as Justine. I might start my lisping queen voice in a minute and just call myself Justine, right? Fine. But it doesn't mean that I've evoked a physical change. Just because if I presented on Monday and said, hi, I'm Justine, right? And I'm going to keep talking in a lisp and just keep doing the stereotypical gay voice and just go like that and insist on being Justine and really camp it up and give this over the top animated nonsense that I'm doing just then. All well and good. It's not going to hurt anyone. It might cause a few of you to go, oh, dick, right, and we'll have a laugh. But I wouldn't then go, hey guys, I've internally changed. My physiology is now altered. I've thought myself into a sex change. No, mate, no. You're a bloke, a bloke, and you're feeling like a bird. That's it. That's literally it. So long as, again, this is why I talk about us lot really in the middle, because if I said, where do you stand on abortion? Where do you stand on domestic violence or foreign policy? Or where do you stand on, do you believe there were weapons of mass destruction that time in '05 when we stormed into Kuwait? No, of course there weren't. Do you believe that 9/11 just whiffs more than a little bit, Building 7? Do you believe that JFK, was taken out by the CIA, etc., etc.? Do you believe we walked on the moon? So, anyway, I mean, a lot of those things are conspiratorial facts, not theories. But the point I'm making is that there are other daily policies, there are other daily things that we would all unanimously agree on. And that's why I refer to us as us. And I'm confident, and it actually restored my confidence tonight. I was doing a little bit of cycling. I was listening to Glenn Beck. I don't know if you know Glenn Beck, the journalist, but he was interviewing Michael Malice. Michael Malice is doing the rounds. He's really kicking ass. I would love that man to be White House press secretary. He'd be like, come on, he's just too clever. But Glenn Beck was interviewing Michael Malice, and he said, Glenn Beck said to Michael Malice, why are you so confident? He said, oh, I am, because he said this isn't going to last. It can't last. It's taken, again, I'm talking about the left earlogs, of course. it's so ideologically driven, and of course it is LARPing, it is live action role play. That's what the LARP acronym means, of course. It can't. It's built on sand. Again, this is why political commentators, authors like Michael Malice do speak of these people as being not formidable opponents. That they're not formidable. Fauci isn't an impressive, formidable person. Neither is AOC. Neither is Ilhan Omar. Neither is Lori Lightfoot. Neither is Joe Biden. Neither is Pelosi. Neither is Hannah. But what did he call? He called Kamala Harris Officer Harris. Just referred to her as Officer Harris. Very funny. But he's right. He's right. I know. I'm giving a very American-centric purview of the world, but it's because they've always led us, into things. Look at when Trump did Soleimani, the strike on General Soleimani. Again, as I'm not the only one saying this, but there were crickets after that. Literally, the tumbleweeds, the chirping of crickets. There was no mad, mutually assured destruction. Not a bean. So we need a strong. I remember Jesse Ventura saying this once. And I'm going to stop in about 3 minutes, by the way. Let you guys get on because I'm tired now. Remember Jesse years ago on Joe Rogan's podcast, there's a shocker. He said, what we need is a benevolent dictator. And I thought, oh, what fantastic, sort of dovetailing words there. Really, really great because obviously benevolent as opposed to malevolent. So benevolent is good and kind and fair, but the dictatorial, the brute, the toughness of a dictator. You take no shit. That with the kindness to be benevolent, not malevolent, not Machiavellian, would be a great winning combo. And he was right. We need a benevolent, a kind, humanitarian, philanthropic dictator. So that'll do tonight. Don't trade places. I mean, I'm not giving prescriptive, lifestyle advice. How the hell can I do that? As broken, as flawed as I am. What I mean to say is, I do it. You probably do it. You might do it unwittingly, subconsciously, but don't. Whatever you've got in your version, your life. 2 hands on that, 2 hands and 2 feet and your mouth on that. That's not enough to satiate you, and nothing is. Our appetite for, or my own appetite for, I don't know, the inner saboteur, or whatever. But the thing is, it's funny times. I mean, Sodom and Gomorrah, I don't want to go too biblical, but it's just, look, that'll do tonight. That's 43, 44 minutes. Whoever you are, I'm just going to check. I mean, the comments should be, that there's, definitely says all messages are visible. So look, thank you for joining. By the way, I scrapped my clamps that were making the cameras shake. I use friction rigs now, the clampable rigs. So the iPhone there and the Ultra there, I've got them clamped onto a pole, which of course supports the mics. Ta-da! See? The mics. See, I can move that, look, and that's not even barely making the cameras move now. Now, the other day when I was doing this sort of stuff with the mics, and I'm showing off now, right, when I was doing this, those cameras were all over the shop, like jelly and ice cream. So I've got it more secure now. Okay, I'm done. I'm probably going to go to bed. I'll get some rest. God, yeah. Should have taken that hat off ages ago. Nice and cool now. Right. Okay, guys, thank you for joining me. Yeah, typical unconscious stream of just blah tonight. Got to move this stream forward with people as opposed to being a talking head. I know I keep saying this, but it's like, yeah. Okay. Look, I'll be back on Monday here on YouTube and Insta. I will endeavour to do some Twitch at the weekend and YouTube, just if nothing else than to wet my beak again and just get my beak wet on Twitch, get involved in some Destiny political debates with Vaush. Mr. Tautology himself. 5 ways of saying the same word. Right, okay, I'm going to go, guys. I'll be back on Monday with episode 431. This has been episode 430. Thank you for joining me. Big love to you all. Have a good weekend. Have a safe, healthy, happy, chilled weekend. I'll be back on Monday. I won't do all that peace shit, but I'll be back same time, same place, same ugly face. See you soon.